Universal Orlando Resort is a fantastic destination for theme park fans all across the world that includes 2 world-class theme parks with a total of 9 coasters, 5 at Islands of Adventure, and 4 at Universal Studios Florida. I will only be including 8 of those coasters, however, due to Pteranodon Flyers being extremely hard to ride if you didn't ride it as a kid. I had the pleasure of visiting these 2 amazing parks in October of this year, and I think I got a pretty good idea of what my favorites are, so let's get right into the ranking. At number 8 is not much of a surprise. It's one of the resort's kiddie coasters, Woody Woodpecker's Nut House Coaster at Universal Studios Florida. This is a fairly standard Vekoma Jr. coaster with a bunch of clones around the country, such as Roller Skater at Kentucky Kingdom or Gadgets Go Coaster at Disneyland. It does have some theming throughout the ride, but it's mainly just a coaster for kids. Be sure to ride for the credit though, right after you ride E.T. Adventure, of course. At number 7 is the resort's other Vekoma Jr. coaster, Flight of the Hippogriff, located in the Hogsmeade section of Islands of Adventure. This is just slightly better than Woody Woodpecker due to it being a little longer and having better theming with a Hippogriff animatronic before the lift hill. It's also a great way to get a view of the Hogwarts castle that you couldn't see otherwise. The ride does get pretty long lines due to its low capacity and proximity to other popular Harry Potter attractions, so try to hit this ride early or late in the day if you want to ride it. At number 6 is another Harry Potter themed coaster, Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, located in the Diagon Alley section of Universal Studios Florida. This intimate indoor coaster is definitely more focused on the theming rather than the thrills, but still a very fun ride nonetheless. The entrance of the ride is especially a marvel to look at, with the huge dragon sometimes breathing fire directly over your head. The ride is very screen-based and is a lot closer to some of their simulator attractions than their roller coasters, but there is a cool launch at the end and some practical effects mixed in to make for an enjoyable ride. I highly recommend using the single rider line for this attraction because the regular line can easily be over an hour, sometimes even a couple hours on busier days, and it's really not worth that long of a wait. At number 5 is another indoor coaster, Revenge of the Mummy, located at Universal Studios Florida. This Premier Rides launch coaster is really well themed with a great dark ride section at the beginning and a really cool fire effect towards the end. This ride also has some pretty decent airtime pops and good launches, but nothing super intense. The theming really uplifts this ride for me because otherwise it might be even lower on the list. There are some good transitions and launches, but not enough to put it past the very elite top 4 of the resort. At number 4 is the resort's B&M Looper Incredible Hulk, located in the Marvel Superhero Island section of Islands of Adventure. This ride is just non-stop intensity from the beginning launch through the 7 inversions into the final brake run. And after the 2016 retrack, the ride is fairly smooth and has an amazing on-ride soundtrack blasting throughout the whole experience. If you really love intense and high positive G-force filled coasters, you'll absolutely love this ride. For me, I like intensity, but I also like other things mixed in with the intensity, something the number 1 spot coaster does almost to perfection, so that's why this coaster can't quite crack the top 3. At number 3 is the resort's Mauer X-Car coaster, Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, located at Universal Studios Florida. Going to my first visit to Universal, I really didn't expect much with this coaster, and I thought a couple coasters below it on this list would be better, but it really surprised me. It has length, airtime pops, intensity, and I can listen to Kickstart My Heart every time I ride it. What's not to love? This ride is kind of shaky towards the back, but in the front it really isn't that bad at all. It's also a great coaster to look at and is also my favorite ride in the entire park of Universal Studios Florida. At number 2 is the resort's final Harry Potter themed coaster and by far the best, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, located in Hogsmeade at Islands of Adventure. This intimate launch coaster is definitely very theming based, and I really shouldn't like it as much as I do, but here we are. The ride does have some thrilling elements though, with 7 launches, a drop track, and a vertical spike in the middle of the ride. There's nothing overly intense, but it's just a really fun coaster to ride that I could easily marathon any day of the week. I also love the motorbike seat obviously, especially towards the front, and it's just a really unique ride and a fantastic addition to the resort, but something just opened this year that blew this ride out of the water. And at number 1 is really no surprise for those who have ridden it. It's of course Velocicoaster at Islands of Adventure. What's to say that hasn't already been said about this ride? It really has everything you want in a coaster. It has theming, launches, 4 inversions, airtime moments, and a 150-foot tall top hat, a lot of which over the main lagoon, and all of that with just lap bars. This ride is an absolute grand slam for Universal and has some of the best elements I've ever experienced on a coaster, especially the Mosasaurus roll, which feels like you're being ejected out of the ride while being upside down and over water. I mean, this ride is just complete insanity, and I really appreciate a park like this going above and beyond for a real thrill coaster like an Intamin Blitz and theming it as much as they did. This is a ride you need to get to if you haven't already, and is easily worth the price of admission alone, and this resort has plenty of other great rides to choose from too. Do you agree with Velocicoaster being the best at Universal, or do you think it's overhyped? Post your thoughts in the comments section below. Be sure to subscribe for more coaster content, and check out my other individual reviews of the coasters at Universal Orlando.